It's going to be a shorter stream because I have a lot of video editing to get done.
I'm stupid.
Yes, you probably are.
Oh, only a little bit of death, not all the death.
Yeah.
I'm in last place now.
Good. That means I'm not.
Brilliant.
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a stairs.
Hola, me llamo Brad.
Excuse me. I am Bradley.
I'll fuck you up, peasant.
Is there gonna be another Bradley versus Ivan fight on stream?
Hopefully not.
I mean, one thing I do like about Horizon 1, which I want them to bring back, but I know they never will, is the fact that there's no traffic in online multiplayer. That is.
I wish there was like an option to turn that off at least. One of the things that I really like about the new version with Horizon 4 is it's much better to play like in the online than it is to do offline, because in offline you've got all the drivatars being their dumb selves, and then you actually collide with them, and then it's really annoying. But if you're online, you don't have to deal with any of those drivatars that are making weird decisions. Not to mention, you're completely ghosted with the other drivers.
Also, another thing I wish they would bring back to the newer Horizons is when you went to go do a showcase event, that you would actually get the car from the showcase.
Yes, that would be so good, especially for an open game. I'm actually not in last place for a little part of time, but now I'm back in last place. Hey, I got a pink wristband.
Oh my god, the wristbands. Those were significant back in Horizon.
Oh yeah. I really, really wish that we would go back to kind of the way that Horizon 1 was, where you'd and 2, where you'd start off as this nobody and, you know, fight your way up the ladder. I do wish that they would also have like actual people to, or not actual people, but actual like characters to play against, like we had Darius Flint and Ramon somebody. Allie Howard. One of the things that I think is really missing from the, you know, more current Horizons is the actual sense of progression in the game.
Yeah, that's what I hate. It's just like, you get a super second. You do. You win. Start in a fucking VW Golf and make me work my way up to buying a Lamborghini.
Yeah, give us kind of a shit car.
Give us
and then,
something to do.
Yeah. Because, like, with this new games, you are the boss of the Horizon Festival. There's there's no real reason to actually race, other than just you like it. In the original Horizon, like, you'd load up and then you're at the bottom of the stack and you want to prove to everybody that you are the best Horizon racer there is.
Yeah, I mean, hell, the introduction to the first Horizon barely made it to the festival. Congratulations.
So how do you guys think, like, if you were to go up to Playground Games and propose, how would you guys want the progression system of Horizon 5 to look?
To be honest, I would just do the same thing as like Horizon 1. Like, maybe even go as crazy as going back to the US where Horizon started. I mean, it's not gonna happen, but
Yeah.
But like going back to like what it used to be when it just starting out, you barely made it to the festival, like what was saying. And
Yeah.
yeah, I would just love to see that, where you're just, instead of you just going through like a bunch of like, instead of just driving like how it was in the demo, instead of just doing that, do it like it was Horizon. Because Horizon was the OG game.
You're starting in D class, working your way up to S class, but at the same time, have these specific events, not necessarily showcases, just race events that allow into supercars and purpose-built race cars.
Well, I think that they have to have the showcases. That's kind of a Horizon staple.
Oh, I'm not saying get rid of the showcases. I'm saying like add like a new style event where it's like, oh, contract racing, where it's like, if you win a championship, maybe Ferrari will say, here, showcase this.
Yeah, actually, do you remember that? They had that sort of thing in Horizon 1, sort of.
Yes, sort of.
Yeah. I also kind of miss the idea of the pink slip races, where if you beat someone at, like, if you got the wristband for the thing, like if you finish with the yellow wristband, you went up against the person that was from the champion driver from the yellow wristband, and then you would race head to head with them on a route, and then if you won, you got their car.
Yeah.
That's one thing I really want to come back. Because that was
I
awesome.
missed the pink slip races.
I'd say if
Totally.
they want to keep it like a huge online.
But I feel like the street races, they don't capture like pink slip racing at all. Like in Horizon 1, they talked about pink slip races for the street races a lot, but they never actually did the pink slip races. Like there wasn't actually like a thing where you could go and do a street race and then win a car. Sure, in Horizon 3 they kind of did it, but
Yeah, I remember that. The midnight battles.
yeah, they kind of did it with that, but it wasn't like a thing where you could go and like do a rivals thing in a sort of way, where you race head to head with somebody or in like an actual pack of like say 12 drivers, and the objective was to finish ahead of them, and then you would get their car. Kind of like that. That's something I would wish they would bring to Horizon.
I just say if they want to stick with the, don't make it so everybody can get every car in the game in like 10 minutes.
Right.
Just make it so like if you want a car, you have to earn thing and bring pig slip races in. So it's like, oh, you fucking worked really hard to upgrade your R30. You want to try and show off to that Lamborghini driver.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I think really what the takeaway is we want a better sort of like an actual sort of progression system in the game.
Yeah.
Because right now there's just not really any progression. Like, oh, you're the boss. Here you go. Here's all the cars in the world.
I mean, Horizon 2 has a progression system where it's like, the first time you're doing the game up the Goliath for the first time, it's like, alright, we're going here, now we're going here, now we're here. And then once you do the Goliath, it's like, alright, now we're doing the tour again, but this time you decide where we go.
Yeah. Because,
Yeah.
wow, you're actually a really good driver. You get to choose now. I'm thinking that, so you know how we have the blueprint events?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, how would they, like, maybe blueprint events wouldn't be available right off the bat. It would be unlockable. It would be something that you'd have to go through the game a little bit, and then you'd unlock that. Like, different things that you'd unlock.
Like, I feel like as of now in Horizon 4, all you do is just go through, beat all the different races, the different showcase events, and the different like final races and all that stuff. And
Yeah, there's no incentive to really do anything in that game.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. That's
like,
what I'm saying. That's the problem with having not any sort of progression system.
Really the only thing that keeps people coming back, and really the only reason why, one of the main reasons why Horizon 4 is still a big game, is the festival playlist for most people. That's the only thing that's bringing people back, because there's that sense of like every week there's a new car, or there could be a new car available, and every month there's a new update which brings more cars into the game that would in turn are available in the festival playlist every week.
Yeah, I think that I agree.
That's the only thing that's keeping people here though. That's it.
Yeah, there's, yeah.
You get rid of that and Forza Horizon dead.
Oh, totally.
I mean, like, just look at what happened in Horizon 3. Like, yeah, sure, Extreme did a lot, but how many people here actually played it outside of that?
I feel like Horizon has
just need to-
completely destroyed motorsport at this point. Well, not completely, but
It has.
it's like, it's really taken over.
It has, and that sucks, but at the same time, I kind of hope they take this, just like, let's just make Forza Motorsport a game for the core fans.
Yeah.
An actual motorsport game.
So, do you think that the 2020, when they're releasing, because they're releasing the new Xbox, you think that it's going to be a motorsport game and not a Horizon game?
Oh, it's definitely going to be a motorsport launch title.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great. I'm back into
Because they use motorsport to show off the fancy graphics of the new console. Which is why Forza 5 was so shit, because they were too focused on the graphics.
One thing that I've noticed with Horizon 4, they held off the second expansion longer than they did on Horizon 3. And then they're also, I think they're doing a lot of good things with like keeping the game constantly alive, which I think is very smart, because they haven't shifted all of their focus over to the next game yet. So they still have like 2 years from now to make a new game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a
And
feeling
also,
they
I
probably have started, but I'm hoping.
I also think that Horizon is probably the reason why it's such a big game compared to motorsport is because people prefer the open world racers more than anything else. Like look at Need for Speed,
Oh, yeah.
Horizon. Like everybody prefers the open world games over the motorsport games because people don't want to feel restricted to the track that has been given to them. They want to have some sort of freedom with the game. That's why I feel like Horizon 1 was like one of the best games, but also at the same time not, because every single road had walls on either side of it.
Oh yeah, there are still a lot of walls on the roads in Horizon 2, but it's a lot more open.
Actually go to.
Like you can actually go and drive around wherever you want to on Horizon 2 for the most part.
In games like Horizon 2, where there's a lot of big towns and cities, there's gonna be a lot of walls.
Oh yeah, and that's exactly why they would probably never plan to Japan versus Horizon.
Yeah, I gotta say, I don't think that Horizon is ever going to go to Japan, unless...
It's way too mountainous, there's too many...
I would say, I think that Horizon might have, like, a Japan expansion at some point. I think that could be a possibility. What do you guys think about the next location? Because I think we can all agree that Japan is not the next location for Horizon.
Japan's pretty much off.
It's already been,
entirely.
there's been Australia, we're now in Europe.
So there was... So it started off in
It started off in Colorado.
Colorado in the United States.
France and Italy.
There's something in Texas.
Then it went to Australia, and then it went to
England.
UK.
So
Yeah.
what would be the next location?
I think it should be like. I think it should come back to the U.S.
I think so too.
And then maybe
It's like
go to,
Texas.
go to a place like Florida or Georgia, someplace on the East Coast that's a little more tropical.
I could definitely see
Colorado.
Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying
Yeah,
somewhere
Florida's
like
pretty good.
either southeast or northeast even, like New England.
I also think that
I'm fucking England
I
right
know,
now.
I know it's not gonna happen, but it would be cool if they included like Daytona Beach, and then they somehow implemented Daytona International Speedway, and you can go on the track and race around.
Yeah, that would be pretty
The issue
cool.
with that is you have to license that shit for.
Oh yeah, you'd have to
Yeah.
license the shit out of that.
Yeah.
Like that's the only problem with it. But the thing is like Forza Playground Games, they don't like to put racetracks in the Horizon titles. That's why you never see race cars and racetracks in Horizon.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a good reason for that too. Like Daytona, how big is a Daytona of a track? It's like 2.5 mile trioval.
Yeah, it's a pretty
It's
large one.
Yeah, that would be. Like
be
just looking at
huge.
the map for Forza Horizon 2, that would be a massive chunk of just this map alone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because like, yeah, it looks expansive, but it's actually not that large.
Yeah, it's not huge.
Like
It's-
I think the lap of the Goliath in Horizon 4 is like 16 miles.
Yeah, I would see like if they did go to Florida, they'd probably go more south, like to Miami and the Keys.
Yeah.
they
That's why-
definitely go.
Actually, I think that if they were to go like staying in Florida, they would do what they did in Horizon 3, where they like took all the best like parts. They had the outback, the rainforest, the beachside area, the Surfer's Paradise, and they put that all into a smaller map so that you'd have multiple different areas to go for different types of terrain, different types of races. They would do the same thing. If it was in Florida, you'd have like southern Florida, and then you'd also have like a bit of northern Florida, whatever types of. Because one of the big things that I remember they were talking about in Horizon 3 was that when they're looking for a location, they try to come up with a place that has a lot of diversity in the type of like ground that they have. I think that they didn't really do such a good job with that in Horizon 4.
Oh god, no.
No, Horizon 4 is just kind of. I think we've
We
got.
trees, we got fields. That's it.
Yeah, I think there's the one rainforest area. Lego.
I like Lego's suggestion, Hawaii.
Hawaii.
That
That would be
might
interesting.
That's actually not a bad idea, Lego.
Isn't that what TDU2 did?
I'm trying to think of like how they would implement Hawaii, because Hawaii is a little bit like it's it's multiple smaller islands.
Yeah.
One thing
I
we
think
have
that
to
would be
remember is
extremely
that the next
restrictive.
Horizon will be on the new next generation console, which means they have so much.
Oh yeah, it's
the
gonna
map
be on the
will
next.
Probably be much larger than it is right now.
Oh yeah, I have a feeling. So my prediction for the next console is that we've always had the base size of 500 gigabytes. I think the base is going to be a 1 terabyte, and then they're going to have like terabytes above that.
Oh, yeah, I was
Because
gonna say, like,
games
I
for
would
this
definitely
next
see it.
console, because they're going to have much higher resolution textures, they're going to have definitely larger maps because they've got a better CPU and a better GPU.
Yeah.
Things
You
are
wanna hear a
just going to
fun
be
fact?
so much bigger. Horizon or Motorsport 7 was 100 gigabytes.
And two things I want to mention about the map. One, I like how Playground Games that they've been going with the attention to detail with the maps.
Yes.
So like in Horizon 1, the only thing that resembled America was the Rocky Mountains, and that was it. There's no like geographical thing that indicated that this was the Rocky Mountains and this is where on the map in real life where it was.
Yeah.
But in Horizon 2, 3, and 4, there was actually like real places and real like real landmarks. Like if you
Yeah.
went on Horizon 4 and go on Google and search up Edinburgh, like a
Yeah.
street view map of Edinburgh, you can see like all the roads that they've implemented that correspond to real life.
Yeah. Also, not to mention, Horizon 3 had the 12 Apostles. That
Yeah.
was very interesting to see.
And also
Yeah,
they had the lighthouse at Byron Bay that actually Chaz has gone to see.
Yeah.
He was on the highway and he saw it. And another thing about the map that I wanted to mention, the one stream that I was at for the Forza like thing that the series updates and all that stuff, that I saw someone made a comment about like, you know how the bridge is north of Edinburgh, they've been modeled now. I don't know if you knew it, but they modeled the bridges above Edinburgh on the map.
Yeah,
And
I
I
just saw
saw
that.
someone made a comment on one of the live streams, immediately got deleted by a moderator.
Oh.
So I don't know
Because
what they've
originally,
got
when
going on.
when the map was first released and people saw those, they thought, oh, this is going to be like the way how we get to the expansions. Like, oh, you just
Yeah.
take this road and you take the bridge across, and then the expansion loads up in the background or something, and then you show up there. I'm really frustrated that that's not how it went, because I thought that would be really cool. What did you see? What the comment was that the person said that was deleted?
It said something along the lines of are you guys going to talk about how the bridges above Edinburgh are modeled now? And then like I got the chance to read like half of that, and
Oh wow,
it got deleted by a moderator.
that's interesting.
But yeah, I see
When
what you
was
mean,
that?
Like, that was I think the stream before, I think it was the one in at the end of August. Yeah, the end of August. It was the one I was at. But yeah, it was that one. But I like
Okay.
what you're saying about
So
like
about a
they
month
go
ago?
from yeah.
Yeah.
So I like what you're saying about like the bridges being used to go to like different side of the map. Like what I would think would be cool is if they actually expanded the map off of what they have now.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Like because this year this E3 would technically be a Horizon year if we were to keep following the leapfrogging pattern. So
Yeah,
I
true.
think that they're going to release something for Forza Horizon 4 to come out this year. Whether it's because it's not like you've said, it's definitely not going to be a real game. It's not going to be a full game. It's going to be a motorsport game.
Yeah, I was
But
gonna say, I don't
with
know
the
if
2
they
years
will.
that they've already had, I think that they could build like some sort of a map extension at the very least, and maybe add a couple things to the game without like
Yeah.
creating a fully new game.
Yeah.
So
Sure,
that
yeah.
would be really interesting. Could there possibly be another like another map edition coming in the future?
Yeah, I was actually watching one of Eric Ship's videos where he said like, we have this extra year for Horizon. There is a chance that because we already had 2 expansions, the Lego expansion and Fortune Island, there is a very high possibility that there could be a 3rd expansion this year for Horizon 4.
That's what I'm really hoping for. And I gotta say,
Yeah.
if we're thinking about this, if anything is going to be announced, it's going to be announced at E3 alongside with the new console and hopefully Motorsport 8.
True.
I think that would be really interesting. I'm really
Well, I
excited
mean-
for the future Horizon.
Motorsport 8 is pretty much all what could, because new console has to have game to go.
Oh yeah, it's definitely gonna have some sort of Forza game, most likely Motorsports. Forza, especially the Horizon series, is like the Xbox title for everybody, and I think that Halo is probably the Xbox title for the big Xbox fans.
For the gamers.
Yeah, for the gamers and whatever.
I will be honest, like the esports on Forza isn't as prevalent as something like Fortnite or
definitely
Call of
not.
Duty.
I think though that the esports for like Forza would be, I think that kind of thing should be pushed up a little bit more. It would be really cool if Forza actually had like a full on, like
esports for Forza right now is kind of a joke.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just due to how Forza Motorsport's being treated. It's not a racing game; it's a car collecting game.
I definitely think that Horizon, like the next Motorsport, there needs to be some focus that needs to be brought back to Horizon. The focus needs to be brought back to Motorsport, not Horizon.
Yeah,
Motorsport is being overshadowed by Horizon.
I don't care.
Okay, I think that it's probably
It's just that they need to separate the two. Forza Motorsport isn't a game about collecting cars. It's a game about racing.
Yeah.
It's a racing game. Motorsport is in the title. It should be about the motorsports. Whereas Forza Horizon is the perfect car collecting game, the perfect exploring game, the perfect game to mess around with vehicles.
Hey, Brad.
I also think that like I know it's like this is coming from someone who primarily races on dirt tracks, but I think it would be kind of interesting if they brought like dirt cars to Motorsport and brought dirt tracks to Motorsport, because as of now the only game right now as of now that has dirt tracks and dirt cars is iRacing, and we all know the problem with iRacing is its description.
Oh yeah.
But I think it would be awesome if you in the next Motorsport, if you could go to like some place like Eldora Speedway and then rip a sprint car around the track.
Well, I mean,
or you could go as crazy as bringing a sprint car to a place like Laguna Seca.
Just about to say a QT or a sprint car.
Yeah, like you could bring a sprint car to Laguna Seca and then race it around the track.
Yeah.
GT Sport kind of has that. They have like 5 actual like legit dirt tracks, and then they have a bunch of Group B rally cars, Group A rally cars that you can just take anywhere.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that obviously Horizon's way overshadowed Motorsport, like huge. I think that it's probably, I think they do need to push a little bit more for the Motorsport, specifically so that if they can push more on the Motorsport, then hopefully more people would be interested in watching like the actual like
esports.
The thing is, I don't want
then they'd watch. Like I think that if they would push for that and then actually play for in esports, then that would start to get them a little bit more money. Like thinking about the money side of things.
The thing is, I don't want Microsoft to push Motorsport, because when Microsoft pushes Motorsport, that's when we end up with stuff like Forza 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think like
right now.
Like going back to what you said, Beaker, about making Motorsport more of a simulator, I would think like if I were Playground, like if I were Turn 10 making Motorsport, I would make the Motorsport for like Xbox that's more of an arcade sort of racer, but then make it so you can get the arcade version on PC, but also get like a simulator version that had more accurate physics and more accurate like track map layouts. It's like more like iRacing where they're 3D scan.
Well, I mean, Forza does do 3D scanning.
They do. Oh, okay. So never mind.
Forza's been doing it since Forza.
Really, like 4?
Yeah, I think 4 is when they like really did it big time. I think they laser scanned Nürburgring Forza 3 as like a big look at what we did done.
Yeah.
But like I definitely think that there should be like a simulator version of like how there was the dev build of Horizon 3, even though that wasn't supposed to be a thing. Like make a build of the game that is made for simulation racing, just to kind of,
or at least like have some sort of like an option in there where you can go arcade style or simulation, at least an
like
option.
How it is in
I
the
can
dirt
see why they
games.
won't do it, because it's just the amount of time and effort they have to put into making a separate physics engine just to run that kind of stuff.
Not even they. I don't think they'd even need to run a separate physics engine. I think what it really is they would take the current physics engine and just like tweak it to make it optimized to be more realistic, and then they'd just have two settings. Like if they use the same physics engine, the same Forza game engine that they've been using, I don't think that's going to be an issue to make a really realistic physics-based simulation game, but also have the arcade style game that a lot of Xbox players would just be looking for.
Yeah, but it's just that the difference between arcade and simulation, on the surface, that doesn't seem like a lot. There's a lot of subtle differences, like how Forza doesn't account for weight difference in fuel up. Forza doesn't really account for tire temperature mixed with tire wear. It's more or less just
that would be one interesting
you have
story.
tires until they hit 100% and then you don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
It's like that small stuff that would make it just really hard to do it on just one physics engine.
Oh yeah, I suppose. I think
I
though,
also-
if they would even rewrite the physics engine for motorsport, I still think that it would be pretty easy to, if they would make it specifically for like a realistic physics engine, they could also still use that same physics engine, so they wouldn't have to be using two. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a game dev.
I also think that motorsport should be more like GT Sport with the way that they set you up with different drivers. Like that way, people aren't getting infuriated when they go on motorsport online. Yeah,
everybody in the Forza community is screaming.
Yeah,
if they don't add that in Forza 8, then they have clearly proven they don't care about their audience.
Yeah, like if they made it so you're not getting stuck with people who suck and ram and try to take you out every chance they get.
Like if they don't have a driver or skill rating in Forza Motorsport 8, they're just blatantly not paying attention to their audience. Because, like, you look at any YouTuber, like Devon, he's saying that, Super GT saying that, like, all of the serious racers, not like Nick, but like those guys are saying like Forza needs a rating.
Yeah, and it wouldn't necessarily have to be like in the same sense of GT Sport, because that would be borderlining copyright stuff and all that stuff. But kind of make it in a similar way to where if you are so you're not getting paired up with people who ram into people. So if you're a rammer and all that stuff, then you get put with other rammers. And then you get to feel hell.
At that point, with that, that's a really difficult thing for them to detect, which is why, like in Horizon 4, is the new thing to tell when people are, against each other, when people are being bad people. That's really difficult for them. For those.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying
things.
they could do a GT Sport style system, because it's a very basic system. You have a set scale on, I think, for sport, it's a scale of 0 to 100. Whereas, like, if you touch this driver, you lose a point. If you get a clean lap, you gain a point or two. And it's stuff like that. So it's just averages.
That would be pretty easy.
People who constantly hit other people, constantly go into walls, will inevitably be in the lower tiers.
That could be a good idea.
Who try to race clean, who do get clean laps, so will inevitably be brought to the top.
And I would see them using the system they have in Forza Motorsport 7 now, where if you go off track to try and make a cheeky pass on people, or if you try to hit somebody to take them out and pass them, then I would see them somehow implementing that system into that ranking system.
Yeah.
That is true.
Right, and Lego sent his idea into the Discord. He says, imagine in a future Horizon... I'm going to do this in the epic voice. Imagine in a future Horizon game, they combine the first 3 maps since they were so good and make them high resolution. Since the console is going to be so powerful, it would be able to handle it. Probably not going to happen, but that's an idea. So Lego's idea is to combine the first, second, and third game's maps into one. I'm not certain how those would all go together.
They wouldn't do that.
Far.
They wouldn't
think that's
do that. The closest they would ever get is like sometime in the future. It's just like they have enough power on the console is just like, oh hey, DLC, you can visit the Forza Horizon 1 map.
Yeah.
But they'll never have it just so it's like, oh, the 3 maps are mashed together.
Yeah, no, I don't think
part
they're
of
gonna
the
be mashed.
allure to the Horizon series is like, you're in this specific area doing racing, and like, we're on Horizon 2, we're racing in the Mediterranean coast.
Yeah, like I could see for maybe like the 25th anniversary or something of Forza, where they have like an expansion that gives you the maps, at least like the maps, and then you can play through, not the same game, but like all the maps, and then some of the special cars that were only in those games and aren't in the other ones.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing like them taking like the code and physics from the like Horizon 1, Horizon 2, and then remaking it so the graphics are better, the physics are better, and everything else, and just fixing all the glitches and bugs in it, and then re-release it as something as like just like as a standoff game.
Yeah, that's what I think would be so cool. Just like
That'd be cool.
a brand new re-release of Forza Horizon 1. Obviously, they'd have to go and get all of the things from that
unfortunately,
again.
with our modern, hey, let's release a new iteration every year, games just don't have that nostalgia factor anymore. Like,
I think the only games that really in the Horizon series that have that sort of nostalgia is definitely Horizon 1 has that sort of nostalgia.
Yeah, the only games that have that nostalgia factor are the ones too, like, they had their big hit before this whole, oh, let's do one every year thing. Like, everybody talks about Halo, you don't see them talking about Halo 4, you see them talking about Halo 2, or Halo 3.
I also think that the maps need to be more, there needs to be more to it than just roads and than just different types of terrain. There needs to be more to it.
Like, what are you suggesting?
Like, more variants?
Yeah, well, it's kind of like that, but also maybe like put in, let's say maybe more, kind of like what the Lego expansion did with like, maybe like with some areas that have like more ramps and all the and stuff like that. I mean, like the airport kind of did that in Horizon 4, but like make it so there's more like, it's an open world game.
Make it seem more like it's a festival. Like,
yeah,
oh, hey, we just have a bunch of cars in this area.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that idea.
I see what you're saying.
And then also like adding on to the festival playlist, make it so there's like every week there's like a special event, like where like a select few races they got, like it's almost like a showcase remix, but it was for a select few events. So like you take a race, you can change the route of it, you can make it so there's only a specific car, or you can make it, or just do something like that, and then in return you would get like a special car. You can see them
You can see them kind of trying to do that with the playlist system, because every now and then they'll have the community series where it's just nothing but community created maps.
That's cool. One thing that I really think would be really, really cool in the like in that playlist sort of thing is have one of the events, like add a new event to the game each week, as in like I don't know if they could, but like a new racetrack, like even if they would just pull the racetrack from like a really good one from the community and then like they'd set it up for a car or something. But if they could like release a new official racetrack once a week or something like that, or even if it's just for that week, that one racetrack is like there, that would be really cool. That would because right now all it is, oh, here's a race that you already did, go do it again in this car. And that's pretty much what it is. Same thing with the what's that called? The showcase remixes.
Yeah.
With that, it's basically just, oh, you did this one here, we're going to change the season and you're going to take this car. Instead of, here's a new race track, or here's on the showcases, here's a new path to follow against this hovercraft or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also feel like this is a small thing, but I still think it's relevant. Mud kickers, I feel like they could have done something more with mud kickers.
You mean they could have done literally anything with mud kickers? Mm-hmm. There's only one event at that area. Everything else is just like, oh, it just goes straight through the center and leaves.
Yeah. I think mud kickers had It had possibility, but it didn't.
They
do
made
it
it too
right.
small.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
The one thing I wish for all the Forza games of it, I wish we had proper like 4-wheel drive areas.
Like
what do you
like
mean?
a place where you can go rock crawling and stuff.
Yeah, because there's not really a lot of areas you can go to. Because I feel like the vehicles are just kind of waste.
Yeah, like having a
Yeah.
small area like that would be really nice.
I know that would make. I'm pretty sure that would make Jacob nut, but okay.
Because
But
Horizon 4, we don't have really a proper off-roading areas apart for the big jumps, and that's
Yeah,
about
I
it.
know. I'm thinking that, like, in Horizon 4 with the, the cross-country circuit stuff, or cross-country series, that could definitely be improved.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot more they could do with that.
I also
They
think
need
like
to increase the difference between on-road and off. Whereas like if you take a Lamborghini to mud kickers, that thing shouldn't even be able to drive.
Yeah, no.
Nah.
I think that,
Whereas if you take a Raptor on road,
I mean,
obviously it's not going to beat a Lamborghini.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's still an arcade racer, so they'd have to have some sort of playability with whatever car. But I think that if they made it a little bit more realistic, that would improve a lot. And
Like
I don't
how,
know. So
the crew
every
did like, oh, there's raid versions of every car. So it's like
Yeah,
it's built specifically to go off road.
yeah, the one thing that everybody seems to talk about that I don't see what the big deal is engine noise. Everyone's talking about how the engine noise sucks in Forza Horizon 4. I don't see that as being really a big issue.
people are complaining because the engine noise isn't accurate to real life.
Yeah.
This is Forza Horizon. You're racing trains and planes and going off jumps at 300 miles an hour, flying 500 feet in the air. It's not supposed to be realistic.
no.
And I also think, like, with the root creator stuff that they were doing, I was really hoping they did more with that, because I don't know, like the cross country races is more prevalent in the circuit race and the quarry. If you go and race that and you look like if you like pay attention, and then you like pay attention to the route, and then you go out of it, you'll notice that where you were driving, there were actually trees there in the normal map, but in the actual race, the trees were gone.
Really?
So
really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So what I would like to see them do with the root creator and stuff is what I would like to see them do is like maybe like along the route, maybe get rid of trees. Like you could probably program that somehow. And then
how they're
also
doing the trees. So what I would imagine is how they're doing the trees is a very actually interesting way. Lego, thank you for the cheers.
And also, I think that like but I think that with the cross country races, like there's ramps and all this different stuff that would bring so much more variety and potential to different races in the blueprint events. That's what I would like to see them do with the root creator, is be able to add like stuff like ramps and all these different cool things that in the normal races the devs are getting, but we're not.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things, so what I'm thinking is with your removing the trees, there would be, I don't think it's going to be that difficult, because what they do is all of the trees, I believe, they don't place them themselves. It's sort of like a randomly generated, like this plane that I've got in my stream right now. There's a plane here, and it's emitting all of these different hairs, which would be the trees or whatever. And then I don't really know how to do it because I don't work with hair very often in Blender. But what you can do is you can set like different areas to have different weights of amounts of like the hairs. So what it could be done is like as your car is driving along, it goes through, and so you're driving through all these like this wooden forest area. And it would be painting down a line of like, don't place trees here, and then once you're done, like it would recalculate where all the trees are going to be and put them so they're not on the path. So I don't think it would be that difficult to implement something like that.
One thing I would like to see is like those old snowmobile games where it's like you had custom tracks, but they were done on a tile set. So it was like, you don't have to take roads that you were already given. It's just like, here's a set list of things you can use, and you can build a track entirely out of that.
Right.
But I feel like the tile system is very restrictive. Like I had this game on my phone where you would race RC cars around around tracks you would make and other people made, and the tile system was super restrictive in the sense that you couldn't have curves that were a 60-degree curve or
I guess I don't
170-degree curve.
I don't mean tile set specifically like that. I mean like tile set for like more in the style of like the old Far Cry map editors.
Have you guys ever played Roller Coaster Tycoon?
Yes.
Like that.
I've seen videos.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean more like
hold on. There's a Wii game of like a racing game that I think has the same sort of idea of what you're talking about with the tiles. Jeez, what was it called? I have no clue. I don't know.
I guess what I mean more instead of like a tile set is like a paintbrush system, where it's just like, oh, here's a giant open area. Use your cursor and like select track and just draw on the fucking thing. And
like, are you talking about Horizon or Motorsport here?
Just either of the two. Just a custom track builder that allows a lot of creativity.
Isn't that kind of what we already have?
Yes, but at the same time, we are still extremely restricted by what they place on the map for us. Because like with something like that, you could also do like, oh, you can place trees in the way. You could put a jump here. You could do this and that.
Yeah, I gotta say, I highly doubt that sort of thing would ever come to Horizon, just because it's like so much extra. That would be its own. That sounds like it would be more of like its own standalone game than an extra feature in a AAA game. Yeah.
Honestly, right now, what Forza Horizon has for a route creator, where you drive a car along the route, is probably is going to be the best and most reliable system for making a route. As of now.
But I think one way I think that they could improve the route creator is if you're trying to do obviously a road race or something like that, you can when you're trying to do the road race, it will like know what road you're following, but it'll do its like it'll have like some sort of machine learning, I have a feeling, and then it would do like it would make the racing line. It wouldn't be the racing line that you've done, because a lot of people are bad at making racing lines.
Oh yeah.
And then it would just recalculate the racing line as an actual race instead of doing, and then that leads into something else, which I'll get to in a moment. But it would redo a racing line, and then it would, so like you basically have driven out on the roads that you want to, and then it would set up the race like that, and you wouldn't have to do really placing of, well, I mean, maybe you'd still do placing of the checkpoints, but, and then same thing with dirt. If you're doing a race track that like would be on an actual road surface, then the game would automatically say, okay, this is the road, this is the racing line that you should take if you're taking an actual racing line. And then like expanding on that, there was the the current route finder for the GPS is total shit. It's so bad. Oh, yeah. Like, honestly, you'll be going around and you're going to make a sharp right turn, but instead it has you go forward, stop, go back, do a zigzag, and then you're back on the track. It makes absolutely no sense. I think that if we would have that same sort of like AI-powered route finder, I don't think it would be really difficult, especially in the newer consoles with a more powerful CPU, for them to implement that sort of thing, where it'll give you an actual real racing line for that, for whatever path you've chosen to take, and then it would actually like give you genuine directions on how to get there.
Yeah. I also think that like the current route creator system, although it is good and easy to use, the only problem is that because, like you said, people don't know how to set down racing lines, and people actually rely off of the braking line to know when to brake to get through the corner properly. But the thing is with Route Creator, even if your lines are near perfect, the braking points are gonna be absolute shite.
Yeah, they are.
I'm thinking that as the games progress and we get better processors, and with AI becoming like, or not AI, a neural network is what Brad said. Like using one of those would make this so much better.
All I know is I'm a neural net processor, a learning computer.
But yeah, I think Horizon has a lot of things, or all of the Forza games have a lot of things that they could improve on. And it would just take a bit of time to go about it. But I think that would be interesting. Yeah. If you have any ideas, post them in the comments or wherever. Send them to me on Discord. And we'll discuss them maybe at some other time.